Hi, it's Tim and Shana from Punk Rope, and today's video is about a pretty controversial subject, which is, can you get stronger by jumping rope? Well, let's dive in. Shana's holding a classic Go Green Punk Rope. It is all of 4 ounces. So not much compared to the dumbbell that's lying on the ground there, that I believe is 15 pounds, is that right? Okay, so what we need to do first, guys, is define the terms, right? What do we mean by strength? And then we're going to also look at some other variables. So as I'm defining strength, Shauna's going to do repeated curls and presses, and no, she's not going to do that. She's going to do whatever she feels like doing. But basic definition of strength is the ability of muscles to exert force against resistance. So the resistance could be a person, right? You could be trying to push a person. Think about sumo wrestling or freestyle wrestling. Or it could be an object. That object could be the dumbbell that Shana was just holding. And if she has strength to overcome the object by, let's say, bending her elbow, then her bicep has sufficient strength to overcome the resistance of the object. On the other hand, if Shana pushes the wall, it's very unlikely that that wall is going to come down unless we're on a Hollywood sound set, and then, you know, it might fall over because it's cardboard. The one behind Shana is cardboard, so that will definitely fall over. There's also something called power, which is a type of strength, and that's the ability to exert maximum muscular contraction explosively. And basically what we're looking at are combining strength and speed, right? So if you think about football, a lineman getting down into that 3-point stance. Shana used to play pro football. And then the quarterback yells hike, and she comes out of that stance quickly and explodes and knocks the defensive lineman out of the way. Boom! Yep, there's that great technique there. So then we're talking power because we're also looking at speed. But with rope jumping, for the most part, we're really dealing with what's called strength endurance. And that would be the ability of a muscle or muscles to repeatedly contract submaximally over time. Now, if you start jumping rope, right, and if you stop, that's fine. But if you start jumping rope and you're untrained, meaning you haven't been exercising in a long time, you've been, you know, kind of just hanging out, yeah, maybe your shoulders are protracted, you might be very tight, and likely you'll be pretty weak. So you pick up your rope, and regardless of the weight, whether it's 4 ounces or more, you start jumping, and what's going to happen? Well, you're going to get stronger. Your calves are going to get stronger because the calves are taking the brunt of the beating. They're producing most of the force to get your body off the ground. Is rope jumping a total body exercise? Yes, it is, but think about the line of pull. Where is gravity? Right? Gravity is exerting a force down. You have to fight it to come up. Fighting it is done primarily through the calves. You're also going to be working your feet, your ankles, your hips, to some extent hamstrings, to some extent core. Now, if your form is good, you actually are not going to be using your shoulders and chest very much. Those muscles will be working to stabilize. Likewise, muscles in the back. But you're primarily propelling the rope with your wrists. Your forearms will come into play. And by all means, everything else is keeping you stable. So it's not as if the rest of your body isn't working. It is, but compare that to a plank, right? To a push-up, to a mountain climber, to lifting a weight, to pushing a heavy object.
I was going to say, when you do rope jumping, it's almost like you're sustaining a plank with the exception of the action in your turning the rope and jump, like using the ankles and calves, and again, a little bit of leg muscle.
Yeah, because
you have to sustain that same posture.
Exactly. So you've sort of taken the plank and you've rotated it 90 degrees. So now you're upright. Now you're not exerting force against the floor, but gravity is exerting force down. And to make sure you don't collapse, you're going to have to engage your core and, of course, your calves to propel you upwards. So this is the story with a 4-ounce rope. Now, so if you're untrained, absolutely. Will you get stronger? You will get stronger to a point. Now, once you've adapted, right, and we're going to put down that 4-ounce rope, once you've adapted, those strength gains will start to diminish, but what will continue will be enhancements in conditioning, so your heart and your lungs are going to get stronger, and that can continue for quite some time. So those will be the cardiovascular benefits. But to get additional strength benefits, and again, this is assuming you're somewhat untrained, you're going to need to go to a heavier implement. And what Shana's got now is a 8-ounce rope, the red one. It is almost exactly twice the weight of the green one. And so it's going to feel a little bit heavier. And she's going to have to exert more force to get it to turn around her body.
Get it away from the other rope.
However, the muscles that are doing the majority of the work are the same. Again, this is assuming good form. Now, if Shana's form was lousy, in other words, if she was, using a lot of shoulder, well, now the delts come into play much more. And they will increase in strength more than if she's using proper form.
Strength endurance.
But it is still strength endurance, which is still a very important aspect of strength. We don't want to minimize it, but we want you to understand what the limitations are, and also to be wary when you hear hype, right? All forms of exercise are great. All forms of exercise can improve strength. However, no form of exercise is, the be-all, end-all. Now, if we go even heavier, and this is a beast heavy rope,
I like to compare.
which is 1 pound, so 4 times the weight of the 4-ounce green rope, considerably heavier. But remember, perspective, 1 pound is 1 pound. That dumbbell was 15. There's a big difference. Now, could Shana jump with a 15-pound rope? Probably not. She has jumped with, she's jumped with a 6-pound rope. I've seen it. Once, yes. 1 rotation, done. Okay. So
this is joint not designed for that weight.
yeah, that wrist will not be happy. So now we take the 1 pound rope, and remember, we're only doing basic bounce now. And is it going to take more effort for Shana to overcome that resistance? 100%. She's feeling it, you can tell. She's feeling it in the forearms, right? And is that beneficial? Yes, absolutely. But it would depend on her chosen activity or sport. That's not the only muscle that she wants to increase the strength of. Will it challenge her heart and lungs? Absolutely. Will it do much for her chest and shoulders? Not a ton. Will it do a lot for her quads, her glutes, and her hamstrings? Not a lot more than the 4-ounce rope will. So that's the important thing to keep in mind. Now, if Sean wanted to do different steps that are more demanding on the legs,
With the regular rope.
that is great for increasing strength, but it has little to do with the size of the rope, and it has more to do with the range of motion and gravity. So here you've got a jog step, almost a high knees step. So you've got much more hip flexion. So for that knee to come up, Shana has to lift the weight of her entire leg. And if you're an untrained person, and particularly for a person who's carrying a little more weight than they would like, that is going to definitely build strength. Likewise, if Shana did a squat jump, which may be contraindicated for some of you because it's going to hurt your knees, but if you have the ability, look at that range of motion. No longer is she completely vertical. Those knees are bending, the hips are bending, and what comes down must come up. So that's a tremendous amount of force to get out of it, regardless of the weight of that rope. And then the last one, we'll leave you with two more. One would be a single leg jump. So we take away one support, and here we're still primarily working the calf, but it's only one calf that has to do the job. So it is a lot more force to overcome, and the core, right? So that you don't lean into the jump, which is very typical, or lean away from the jump. And then very last, let's just look at the upper body. Now this is not the jump that most people are going to want to do, but it's called a jump rope burpee. And it involves coming all the way down to the ground. I'll see if I can get this on video. So Shauna's going to hands down, feet back, push through, rope under feet. We'll just do one more. And there's the hop. So essentially, she's done what's close to a push-up while holding onto the rope. So a coordination challenge. And then a couple of jumps to get the feet back, a jump to get the feet forward, and then a jump to get over the rope. So 3 jumps. So there's core strength involved, there's upper body strength involved, there's lower body strength involved. But does that really have much to do with jumping rope? No, not really. We've just thrown in that the tool.
Test your quickness.
But obviously without the rope, you could do the same move and increase your strength endurance. So
for fitness, it probably makes little difference whether you jump or not. But it's fun with the rope.
It's fun with the rope. There's many benefits. It is a fantastic exercise, guys. Yeah, we do not mean to diminish it. We just want you to think a little more critically about what it means to get stronger and how to do that, and the fact that it depends a lot on where you're starting from. So we hope that gave you some food for thought. Thanks for watching. Feel free to give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and if you have any questions, jot them down in the comments below and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. We'll see you next time.